1 winners there. Hopefully we'll hear from the Prague winners in a short while as well. But next we turn our attentions to the CNC Heads Northwest Sports and Saloon Championship. This is a championship open to just about anything. We've got everything from standard hatchbacks up to modified sports cars, kit cars, special saloons and more out in this series. Now in its 38th season on the UK circuit, sponsored by CNC Cylinder Heads and carservicepacks.co.uk. And let's have a look at the grid for this one then. In pole position in the Seika Rapex sports car is number 47 Steve Harris. Alongside him 95 Paul Wolfett in his Lotus Exige special GT car. It's not a Lotus Exige underneath, more on that in a moment. Second row 48 Paul Rose with his Seika alongside John Wolfett in number 94 the Spire GTR bike engine sports car. Row 3 number 32 that's Danny Bird in his Spire GTR, slightly smaller engine in that one. And alongside him, number 13, Paul Dobson in his low-cost 7, the 7 referring to Mazda RX-7, because that's the engine it's got in it. Row 4, 63, David Harvey with the Stuart Taylor Lokosaki, a low-cost with a Kawasaki bike engine, and 51, Roddy Patterson from Scotland in his Caterham. The 5th row, 46, David Clark, that's the 3rd of the Seikas, and 221, Andy Bicknell with his Ginetta G50. The 6th row, number 12, welcome back Simon Alloway in his Lotus Esprit V8 Special, starting alongside number 3, Guy Carter in his TVR Tuscan. Row 7 is the reigning overall champion, running in Class E, 6 different classes in this championship. Class E champion Jamie Cryer, the overall champion with his little Ginetta G20, and 144 Tim Foxlow with his Space Frame Mark 1 Escort clone. The 8th row, 77 Stephen Parker, he's in a BMW Compact, alongside number 81 Pat Smythe with his Lotus Elan Special GT car. The 9th row, 148 Don Hughes with a Peugeot 306 and 27 Gary Wardle with his newly acquired Seat TCR car. Row 10, we've got 55 Paul Rotherow from the West Midlands. So it's not just Northwest-based drivers in this championship. He's in a Citroën Zara, starting alongside number 76 of Rob Phillips. He's in a Honda Civic. Row 11, 118 of Rick Walker in his BMW Mini, and 149 Gary Warburton with his classic Mini Miglia. Then we've got row 12, 97 Bruce Carter. He's in a Mod Sports MG Midget. And number 69, Chris Marries, a veteran of this championship. He is in a Honda Civic Type R. The 13th row, we've got number 79, Clive Dix. He's in a Mazda RX-7, alongside 75 Graham Smith with his Mazda MX-5. Row 14, 84, Peter Kukulis in his Toyota MR2, and 67 David Bird with a Honda Civic. The 15th row, number 87, David Jones. He's in a Ford Focus RS, alongside 169, Jake Johnson. He's in a Ford Fiesta. Penultimate row, number 7, Connor Modrow. He's in a Ford Focus, and 34, Helen Allen, NHS worker with her Ford Fiesta. And the final row of the grid, 83, Colin Flynn with a BMW Mini, and number 52, Andrew Smith. He's in a VW Beetle. The new Beetle unfortunately had an off in qualifying, so we'll wait to see if that is out there. There'll be a green flag lap followed by a standing start, 20 minutes plus 1 lap. The green flag lap gets underway. A real mixture, as you can see, of cars out there. We've got the Dutch-built Seika sports cars with Subaru engines. Steve Harris has put his green machine on pole. There's Simon Alloway, the Lotus Esprit special GT car. That's got a 5-litre Chevrolet V8 in it. It's effectively a Formula 5000 single-seater under the Lotus Esprit body. The class racing today for the Dave Simpson Memorial Trophy. Dave Simpson, one of the founders of this championship. And the driver who wins his or her class by the biggest speed differential, the biggest margin, wins the Dave Simpson Memorial. We'll have to confirm who that is a bit later on. We're missing Andrew Smith's Beetle from the back of the grid. That had an off in qualifying. You can see the variety here. We've got TCR cars, we've got kit cars, we've got classic minis, new minis, Seikas, the Spire sports cars built in Chesterfield. A low-cost chassis there, number 13, Paul Dobson, the former champion, with the Mazda RX-7 rotary engine in it. Roddy Patterson with his Caterham there, number 51, the Scotsman. A trio of Seikas. There's Simon Alloway. Great to see that special GT Lotus Esprit back out there. Tim Foxlow with his hot rod style Space Frame Mark 1 Escort. He is an ex-short oval hot rod racer. Pat Pat Smythe with the Special GT Lotus Elan. That's an original from the 70s as well, that car. And Paul Wolfett, that looks like a Lotus Exige. I think that's actually a Radical chassis underneath there with an Exige body on top. So some very special cars in this field. We should have had 34 of them out there, missing one from the back. TVR Tuscan out there. Some will remember the One Make series for them in the 80s and 90s. Paul Rotherow for the Aldridge Motor Bodies car, based in the West Midlands with the Citroen Zara, famous as a rally car and rallycross car, of course. Gary Warburton with the classic Mini Miglia. MX-5, MR2s, Honda Civics, Ford Fiestas, Ford Focuses. What a cracking field. The championship sponsored by CNC Heads, engine building specialists, owned by Rick Wood, who is often seen racing one of his extensive collection of classic saloon cars in this championship. He's not out today, though, sadly. We saw him out in the first round at Oulton Park in his Calsonic Nissan Skyline. Gran Turismo players will be familiar with that car. But it's the Seikers that are normally the favourites for overall wins, in particular that black one, Paul Rose, number 48. The boss of JPR Motorsport. 3 Seikers in this field, powered by 2-litre Subaru engines. Simon Alloway could be in with a chance of an overall win. But it's all about the classes. Classes A down to F. We'll keep a few tabs on who's leading what class. 20-minute race plus 1 lap. So once the clock goes down to 0, the last lap board will go out. We've got the Wolfett family on the first and second rows. We've got the Spire GTR out there, built by Spire Sports Cars of Chesterfield. The motorcycle engine machines. A bigger engine in John Wolfett's car, smaller one in Danny Bird's machines. They're running in different classes. The class battle will become apparent as soon as we get underway. Classes A down to F, all based on the engine size and power output of these machines. You really can race anything you like in this championship. Ready for the second round of the year then, for the CNC Heads Northwest Sports and Saloon Car Championship. 20 minutes plus 1 lap of the Oulton Park circuit. Steve Harris in the green Seika on pole position. 95, Paul Wolfett alongside him. It's going to take a while to get the grid into order for this one. 76 there on the right, the Honda Civic. That's Rob Phillips, the Welshman. Not just Northwest-based drivers. We've got drivers from all over the UK in this race, from Scotland, the West Midlands, from Merseyside, from North Yorkshire, in the case of the Wolfett family, from Wales as well. A brilliant field. I think we've got 33 cars on this grid. Service vehicles into position at the back of the grid, waiting for the lights to go out, and here we go. Over 20 minutes of racing. Great start by John Wolfett in the number 94, the Spire. And look at Paul Dobson come through. There's contact there. Somebody has been hit. Oh, it's Simon Alloway who didn't get away. That's what caused the problem in the pack. He's got going again now at the back of the field, but there was definitely some contact. I saw some bodywork fly up into the air there, but it's John Wolfett who leads, from Dobson in second. I think it's David Harvey up into third place in his Lokosaki, low-cost chassis Kawasaki engine, as everybody makes their way down the avenue into Cascades for the first time. 169 there is Jake Johnson's Ford Fiesta. They start to sort themselves out. Oh, Steve Harris has gone off. The pole sitter spins onto the grass. Just too many cars in too small a space, I think, there, and the Seika goes spinning. For goodness sake, says Steve Harris as he loses it there. He'll have to rejoin at the back. And there goes the pole sitting car. We'll pick up the leaders in a second. It is Paul Dobson that has gone through. I think it's John Wolfett who has still got the lead as Steve Harris rejoins in the number 47, or tries to, the rear-engined Seika sports car built in the Netherlands. Couple of cars being delayed on the first couple of laps, and John Wolfett, we just caught him disappearing over Clay Hill there. There he is. He's got a huge lead as a result of that confusion off the line. The Spire GTR, a Class B car, leads the way. The battle for second is headed up by Paul Dobson in the rotary-engined low-cost Mazda. Third is number 32, Danny Bird, with his Spire, the smaller engine car. Then we've got Paul Rose in fourth, and Paul Wolfett is in fifth position. Sixth behind them, it is David Harvey with the low cost. There he is, the black and green car. And then a gap back to Roddy Patterson in the Caterham C400. He was the car that got hit off the line. You can see one of his rear wings is missing. So they start to sort themselves out then. Paul Wolfett up the inside, trying to use the power of that Lotus Exige clone, and Paul Rose using the power of the Seika. He goes through for second. Smoke out of the back of Paul Wolfett as he got a problem. Fast but fragile, these special GT cars. Well, quite a sort out in the lead pack. Yeah, there's definitely a problem with Paul Wolfett's car. It's not slowing him down. He's straight at the inside. Look at this from Paul Wolfett. Takes Danny Bird and trying to take Paul Dobson as well in the bewinged low-cost Mazda. Yes, he's gone through. Is he just a bit overfilled with oil there, perhaps? Paul Rose in second place, the man from Staffordshire in the number 48 Seika. Next through there's Roddy Patterson. There's the leader up towards Clay Hill. There's a battle further back. Don Hughes in the Peugeot 306. We've seen him out with the Classic Touring Car Racing Club this year a couple of times in the Pre-03 class. Gary Wardle, he's raced a BMW Mini and a Porsche in this championship in the past, now in the TCR Cupra. Away goes John Wolfett. We've got one car that's retired. Bruce Carter's pulled off in the number 97 Mod Sports MG Midget further back. There is John Wolfett leading the way, man from Beverley in Yorkshire. Looking for an overall win for a Class B car. It's normally the Seikas that win overall in these races, but nice to see a Class B car up there. Here's a scrap further back in the pack. 221, the black Ginetta of Andy Bicknell, challenging Guy Carter in his TVR Tuscan, and Don Hughes in the Peugeot 306 behind them. They're chasing David Clark in his Seika, the third of the three Seikas in this one. Gary Wardle, number 27. Now, where is he? 14th in his TCR Seat Cupra. So it's John Wolfett, Paul Rose, Danny Bird, Paul Dobson up front. Paul Wolfett has pulled into the pit lane, I can tell you, the Lotus Exige. So he did have a problem there. So lose one of the front runners. Where is Simon Alloway, who's stalled on the grid? He's back up into 21st place, the Lotus Esprit with the Chevrolet V8 engine. David Clark in 10th place, now under fire from Tim Foxlow in his Ford Escort. There's Bruce Carter's car, number 97, the Mod Sports Midget, out of the race. Number 83 looking a little slow there. Colin Flynn in the BMW Mini Cooper, the leader, is coming up to lap him shortly. That's a Class F car. There's the 55 Paul Rotheroe in the Citroen Zara. There's another car out of the race there. I think that might be the TVR Tuscan, unfortunately. We'll pick that up shortly. John Wolfett has lapped Colin Flynn in his BMW Mini. There's Paul Rose. What's the gap now? It is 3.2 seconds. Well, there's the class standings. Paul Rose leads Class A, Wolfett Class B, Danny Bird Class C in his Spire. Don Hughes is leading Class E. Class D is led by Gary Wardle in the Seat, and Class F by David Bird in his Honda Civic. So 3.2 seconds in it for the lead now. Paul Rose trying to close it. He's done the fastest lap of the race, 1:42.021. Little flash of smoke out of the back of the black Seika there. He's catching our race leader. There is Wolfett. There is Rose in the background. Blue flag out for Helen Allen there in her Fiesta. Simon Alloway continuing his charge back up the field in the Lotus V8, I can tell you. Where's he up to now? He's up to 17th. He's just got ahead of 76 of Rob Phillips in his Honda Civic. There's 221, Andy Bicknell's Ginetta from Retford in Nottinghamshire, chasing Tim Foxlow. He's got Pat Smythe in that classic Lotus Elan ahead of him, the Mod Sports Lotus Elan. Specialsaloons.co.uk, the place to find out about some of these cars, including this one. That is the Lotus Esprit V8. As we say, effectively a single-seater chassis underneath with a 5,000cc Chevrolet V8 in it. It's an incredible car, that one. And look now, Paul Rose has nearly caught our race leader John Wolfett in the number 94 car. All the classes trying to win the Dave Simpson Memorial Trophy today as well. I think the Seika is going to catch the Spire here in the battle of the sports cars at the front. Along the lakeside they go up towards Island Bend. And yes, Rose has nearly caught John Wolfett. Now he's surely going to make a move for the lead here. They're coming into Island Bend now any second. Jake Johnson's got some damage, the bonnet flapping away on his Ford Fiesta. Not slowing him down though. This CNC heads Northwest Sports and Saloons Championship race. Second round of the year, the first one held at Oulton Park in April. There's Pat Smythe in the special Lotus Elan based car. 51 there, the caterer of Rod Patterson. There's Steve Harris, 47, recovering after his spin. Where's he got up to? 22nd. Scrap between some of the saloons further back, number 69. That's the Honda Civic of Chris Marries, a real veteran of this series. Conor Modrow in the number 7 Ford Focus. Here are the leaders, up out of Deer Leap. And across the line with the Seika. Having a look here, Paul Rose surely going to take the lead. Yes, he does. Well, Paul Rose has taken the majority of race wins in that Seika in the overall standings over the last couple of years, but it's all in the classes where you finish in your classes where the points count. Now, I have noticed as well, I didn't notice at the start of the race that Jamie Cryer, the reigning champion, did not take the start, so he must have had a problem in qualifying. So his Ginetta not out there. So Class E, his regular class, is being led by Don Hughes in the Peugeot 306. Leaders coming up to lap Chris Marys in the Honda Civic. That's a Class B car. Let's have a look back and see who's leading the various classes. Paul Rose leads Class A, John Wolfett Class B. Class C is being led by Danny Bird. He's third overall in his Spire GTR. Class D, that's being led by Gary Wardle's Seat Cupra. Class E is Don Hughes. And further back, Class F for the less powerful cars. That is being led by David Bird in the Honda Civic. There's David Clark in his very gaudily painted Seika. He's running in 7th place overall. Steve Harris is now back up to 14th. He gained 5 places on that last lap. Leaders lapping Gary Warburton and the number 118 there of Rick Walker in 2 different generations of Mini. There's Pat Smythe in the Mod Sports Lotus Elan. I believe that's the car that in its previous guise was known as the Black Bullet in its heyday. The website specialsaloons.co.uk will tell you more on the history of that car. I was wrong. Jamie Cryer is out there. I've just spotted him there. I thought I'd missed him off the timing screen there. He is there. My apologies to Jamie, the Lancashire driver. I think I must have mixed him up with Graham Smith in that MX-5. They do look similar from a distance, those two cars, the same colours. Many apologies there to our reigning champion, Jamie Cryer. Joint leader of the championship after the opening round, along with Paul Rose and Rick Wood. Rick not here today. Graham Smith, number 75 with the MX-5, chasing Peter Kukulas in his MR2, and they've got David Bird in the yellow Honda Civic, the Class F leader, ahead of them. Roddy Patterson, his battered Caterham, bit of a collision off the grid for him. The Elan closing up on another space frame car there, the Escort of Tim Foxlow. Raced successfully in the National Super Rods on the short ovals with a succession of Ford Capris and Sierras. David Clark under fire from Andy Bicknell in his Ginetta. That's for 7th overall. But your race leader is still Paul Rose. 3 different class leaders in the top 3 places. Danny Bird is who leads Class C in the Spire. There's the second place Spire leading Class B, John Wolfett. There's the Class F leader, number 67. That's David Bird in his Civic. There's Bicknell with the Ginetta. Right up on the tail of David Clark, underneath his rear wing almost. Conor Modrow in the Ford Focus heads through, and there's our 3rd place man. That's Danny Bird, number 32. 3rd place overall and leading Class C in his Spire GTR. 2 Spires in the top 3 places. The Spire, of course, built in Chesterfield. Spire sports cars named after the famous Crooked Spire of Chesterfield. Just the 2 of them in this race. If it was 3 Spires, it'd be Lichfield, wouldn't it? Lapping Paul Rotheroe there in the Citroën Zara VTS. There goes a battle between Paul Dobson and David Harvey. They're fighting for 4th place. They're both 2nd in their classes. Just under 7 minutes plus 1 lap of this race to go. 63 David Harvey. Chasing Paul Dobson. He's won the title in this championship in the past a couple of times with his Mazda RX-7. Remember one year it was number 95, liveried as Lightning McQueen, Paul Dobson's car. But it's the engine of that RX-7 now powering that lightweight low-cost chassis. There's Tim Foxlow. He is currently 10th overall, 4th in Class B. There's the Class E leader, Don Hughes. 2nd in Class E, Stephen Parker. Jamie Cryer is out there 3rd in class. Looking to retain his title this year, the man from Lancashire. Paul Rose continues to lead. He's pulled out a lead of some near 5 seconds now over John Wolfett. Bit of smoke there possibly from David Bird's car, but he still leads the class. It's 4.96 seconds the lead margin now for Paul Rose. So it looks like he's heading for yet another overall win. But the winner of the Dave Simpson Memorial Trophy is, of course, the driver that is the most dominant in their class, winning by the biggest speed differential over 2nd place, or the biggest margin. Now, who's that going to be? I don't think it's going to be Danny Bird, because he's not all that far clear of Paul Dobson. Separated by about 13 seconds. Paul Rose is well clear of David Clark. So Paul Rose could be in with a chance of the Dave Simpson Trophy here, lapping Gary Wardle's Seat there. There's another of the Sakers, Steve Harris on his recovery drive. He's back in the top 10 now. He's got ahead of David Clark in the 3rd Saker. Tim Foxlow and Pat Smythe, Special Saloon and Mod Sports cars of differing generations battling it out there, with Don Hughes behind. That's the fight for 10th, 11th and 12th. And there is our leader, Paul Rose. John Wolfett in 2nd. You can see the gap. Paul Rose has lapped a large proportion of the field now. He does tend to dominate these races overall. He's the boss of the Fun Cup endurance racing series as well for VW Beetle space frame cars. He's always been an innovator, Paul Rose, in motorsport. He was the first man to win a race in a Radical in the UK back in the 90s. We're in the closing stages now, just under 4 minutes to go. Oh, and problems there as 221 of Bicknell tried to move on David Clark in the Saker, got onto the grass. I think he saved it though. That was the battle for 8th place. I think the Ginetta has got ahead. There's Gary Warburton with his Mini Miglia. Patterson in the Caterham. Now, where is he in the overall standings? Sixth overall, third in Class B. There's Paul Dobson. He's in fourth place and under fire from David Harvey, but they are in different classes, those two. This is the main battle on track at the moment. These two 7 types, as they're known. There's a yellow flag out, so something's happened at Knickerbrook. Who have we lost? I think it might be Gary Wardle. He's slipping down the timing screen in the Seat Cupra that we may have lost there. I think we have unfortunately lost our camera at Knickerbrook, so apologies there. 2.5 minutes to go. There is the 221 of Bicknell. There goes Paul Rose. Still 4.5 seconds clear of John Wolfit in second. There's Bicknell coming up on Chris Marries. They've dropped David Clark in the Seika. There is the Seika trying to fight back. So we're in the closing stages, 90 seconds to go in this CNC Heads Northwest Sports and Saloons, plus 1 lap. Now there's a car that's pulled over. Conor Modrow we've lost in the Ford Focus. He's pulled over at Deer Leap. Here comes the leader. Well, 43 seconds on the clock there as he came out of Old Hall. So it will be last lap next time around because the clock will count down to 0 this time. We'll find out from the officials who's going to win the Dave Simpson Trophy when the timings are all worked out, the class results decided. Just having a look back at the class leaders. John Wolfit in second overall is leading Class B. Danny Bird in third place overall leading Class C. Class D, that's being led further back in the order by Rick Walker now, number 118 in his BMW Mini, because we've lost Gary Wardle's Seat Cupra. Class E, that's being led by Don Hughes in the Peugeot. And Class F is still... No, it's not David Bird. We saw him having a bit of a problem with some smoke there. He's pulled into the pits, David Bird, on that last lap. And Graham Smith is now leading Class F. Well, they're coming up towards the checkered flag very shortly then, because the clock has counted down to 0. It'll be one more lap for Paul Rose. Paul Rose with a handsome lead, as we are used to seeing in the CNC Heads Northwest Sports and Saloons. It's 38th year this year. It is a shame that Dave Simpson sadly did not live to see this championship flourish so much. There can't be many championships still with grids of this size in their 38th year. It is a wonderful series, this. Open to any car you like, pretty much. Nearly 7 seconds the lead for Rose ahead of Wolfit now. John Wolfit upholding family honour. Paul, an early casualty in his Lotus Exige clone. Going up to lap Helen Allen in her Ford Fiesta. through Knickerbrook for the final time. Still flapping away the bonnet on that Fiesta of Jake Johnson. Helps with the cooling, I suppose. Hope it doesn't fly open. Leader goes through. Coming up towards the checkered flag this time. No problem at all for the man who's dominated overall in this series in his Seika in recent years. The JPR Seika of Paul Rose, the man from North Staffordshire, is coming in to win in the CNC Heads Northwest Sports and Saloons round number 2 here at Oulton Park. Into Deer Leap he comes. Up towards the line, Paul Rose comes in to take the checkered flag. Rose wins it by a clear margin over John Wolfett, who is going to win Class B in second overall in the Spire GTR. Here he comes. Gap of 10.6 seconds at the flag. Third place is going to go to Danny Bird in his Spire GTR, the smaller engine car. John Wolfett in a 1600 engine car, Danny Bird in a 1000cc machine. There he is in for third place. He'll win Class C. And who's going to win the Battle of the Seven Types for fourth place? Dobson and Harvey. 1.3 seconds in it as they completed the last lap. Dobson in the low-cost 7, Harvey in the low-cost Saki. What's going to win out then? Mazda RX-7 rotary power or the Kawasaki bike engine? It's going to be the Mazda. The Mazda engine low-cost takes the place. Flash of flame from the exhaust over the line. Dobson ahead of Harvey. Roddy Patterson will take 6th in his Caterham. And Steve Harris, good recovery after his spin, the pole sitter for this race, will finish in 7th place. The last car on the lead lap. There's Jamie Cryer, number 1. We didn't hardly see him all race long, the reigning champion. I initially thought he hadn't taken the start, but he does finish in 11th place, so apologies to Jamie once again. One car that has lost places and has slipped down the timing screen on this last lap is Tim Foxlow. We've not seen him come through. Quite a few retirements in that one. We lost Bruce Carter, Guy Carter in the TVR as well, Paul Wolfett, Simon Alloway eventually retired into the pits in the Lotus. We lost Conor Modro's Focus. We saw Gary Wardle, the Class D pace setter, dropped out. David Bird dropped out while leading Class F as well. And we've lost somebody else on that last lap. Tim Foxlow hasn't come through, and I think we lost Colin Flynn's BMW Mini as well. It is Paul Rose who takes the win by 10.66 seconds over John Wolfett. We'll confirm the full results in a second. As the cars head back into the pits, Paul Rose ahead of John Wolfett, winners of classes A and B in first and second. The Class C winner Danny Bird in third. Fourth place going to Paul Dobson. Second in Class B, ahead of David Harvey. Good battle between those two. The other cars on the lead lap were Roddy Patterson and Steve Harris, recovering after his spin to take 7th. 8th place going to the number 221 car of Bicknell in his Ginetta. 9th for David Clark in his Seika, and rounding out the top 10, 81 Pat Smythe in the Lotus Elan. Jamie Cryer finished in 11th place and pipped Don Hughes for the win in Class E, keeping up his run towards a second successive championship, trying his hardest. Good run by Jamie Cryer. 12th for Don Hughes, 13th Stephen Parker, 14th for Paul Rotheroe, and 15th went to Rob Phillips. Behind them in 16th place, well, Tim Foxlow actually stopped on the final lap, so he won't be classified 16th. Next to Rick Walker, he takes Class D in his BMW Mini. Then Gary Warburton's Mini Miglia, Chris Maris, Peter Koukoulas, Graham Smith takes the win in Class F, following the demise of David Bird. The Mazda MX-5 wins Class F. Behind him, Jake Johnson in that blue and orange Fiesta, Helen Allen in her Fiesta, and Colin Flynn in his BMW Mini. We lost, of course, David Bird, Gary Wardle, Conor Modroe, Simon Alloway, Paul Wolfett, and the Carters. Well, there we see Tim Foxlow. His space frame RSR Escort sadly let him down on the final lap. I wonder if those hats are now part of a marshal's uniform on the UK circuits. They all seem to have them, don't they? One way to keep the sun off. As the cars come into the paddock, there's Rob Phillips with his Honda Civic, the VTEC Direct run car. A couple of nice classics I could see in the background there. A classic Mini and an Aston Martin as well. There's Conor Modrow's Ford Focus on the run up towards the start-finish line. Somebody being recovered on the left of your screen as well. Is that Tim Foxlow's car or is that somebody else? That might be Gary Wardle's Seat, I think. Gary Wardle's been winning this championship for a few years in a few different cars now. He's raced a Ginetta, a Porsche, a BMW Mini as well. So a couple of cars to be recovered then before we get on with our next race, which is the second outing for the Radical Summer Cup.